Well, good evening, everybody. So excited to have you join us on this second meeting of the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership that we're going through, done by John Maxwell. This is the book. If you don't have it yet and you're joining us for the first time, then this is the book you want to get. You can also download Audible. I love Audible, and I do a lot of driving, and I'll play things at 1.5, 2 times speed so I can get through things quickly. I love that feature. And so I've listened to this second chapter twice now that we're going to be sharing tonight. And if you've read it too along with us, then I think you'll find that, man, what an amazing chapter. And so, the dynamic of leadership, if you want to think, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this leadership series? It's because it's kind of the why behind the front side of what we're doing and sharing this patch. It's really it's what's behind, it's who you are that has an ability to influence other people. And coincidentally, we're going to be talking about influence tonight, in a way that empowers them for change. And then you duplicate that type of leadership, which basically will expand your influence. And so your organization, when you become more knowledgeable, particularly these 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, is going to expand your footprint, the size of your organization, the scope of it, and be able to attract other leaders into it so that you can continue to transfer the empowering of helping other people win, helping other people change. When we come into this business and this industry, you quickly learn that there's blind spots and gaps, in your communication skills or maybe your listening skills. Well, that's directly related to your leadership ability. And so having the ability to be coachable, be willing to want to change is tantamount to absorbing information like last week or 2 weeks ago in the first chapter from the law of the lid, and this week, the law of influence, and in the future laws we'll be looking at in the 21 irrefutable laws. This is what I am excited to be leading with you, because I know if you are open, your life is going to change and your ability to grow your team is going to get bigger. And you're going to begin to see this, if you haven't already, by just the first law of the lid. So I'm going to screen share the presentation of the outline of the law of influence. And we'll do some Q&A, because what's important to this process is engagement. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you think? What do you believe? How do you see this is helping you make changes and bring awareness to things you didn't realize about yourself that now you do? And now, because you're aware of this, you know that you're going to be better, not only for yourself, but better for your team. So leadership is a journey, and it's a lifelong journey. And at the heart of it, it's about making a lasting difference into the people that God has really brought into your life, into your organization. And that's, I know, the heart of myself and my wife, Diana, and why we're excited to be in this opportunity beyond the crazy money that we're now making. The greater reward for us is be able to make a difference in your life that opens up your future and gives you the ability to make a difference in others' lives. And ultimately, from obviously a godly, a Christian perspective, we live in a manner to what? We live for God to go to us and through us to affect the world around us. And the more you understand what leadership is and you adjust to improve your leadership, then the greater impact and difference you can make that God has intended you to make in the thumbprint He has made you to be and the authenticity of the person you are. There is no one else like you. So God has a specific leadership thumbprint that's only yours. And taking authority of that position is something that pleases the heart of the Father, because when He made you like no other 8.25 billion people on this planet. He made you, and He made you to lead. He made you to make a difference. And He made you so that He and you together can partner together in making that difference into those lives around you. And it's what's this that I'm talking about, this reality. It's behind, or should I say, it's the heartbeat that's behind when you're sharing the patch, when you're coaching a new team member, when you're leading another team member. It's that heartbeat of influence that you're going to grow with over the next 20 more weeks to come, including this week, with the 21 irrefutable laws. And so I'm excited for all of us and what God's going to do. And I'm going to say a quick prayer, if that's okay with you. And because being partnered with God, from my perspective, there's nothing better. And I hope that's something that you welcome too. So let's pray and we'll move forward. Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to be part of this amazing opportunity. Thank you for John Maxwell and gifting him with knowledge that we can participate in. And as your word says, that we should add to our faith knowledge. And this is great, wonderful knowledge that we can add to our faith so we can make our faith more fruitful by making a difference in the lives around us that you've called us to be part of and impact. And so bless this time now, and may we come away just saying, the Lord touched me, and more effective for you and our leadership to the world around us. Thank you. Amen. Well, thank you, everybody. Alrighty, let me screen share and we'll walk through this and we'll do some participation towards the end here. And I did get my computer fixed today, thankfully. If you're on last night. Okay. So a quick recap. Last week we covered the law of the lid. And that is leadership's ability sets the ceiling on effectiveness. And on a scale of 1 to 10, where did you see yourself? That's important. I'm not going to ask you to share that right now, but I hope that is a starting benchmark that by the time we're at the end of these 21 laws, you find that level. If you were a 7, maybe now you're 8, or if you were a 4, now maybe you're 5, or even a 6. And so I'm excited to see where that's going to be by the time we finish up this program. Well, tonight's focus is on law number 2, and that's the law of influence. Love this chapter. So, here's a question to ask you. Have you ever followed someone not because you had to, but because you wanted to? Why is that? Well, this is the essence of influence. And so it's the core principle. The true measure of leadership is influence. And it's nothing more, nothing less, according to John Maxwell. And I think we'd all agree. So let's think about this. Leadership, it's not about titles, about positions, flowcharts. No, leadership is about the ability to influence others in a positive direction. So if you don't influence people, they're not going to follow you regardless of your position. So check this out. I love these stories. I don't know how you felt about them. They were just spectacular examples of what influence really looks like inside of leadership. Think about Princess Diana, right? Here's someone who held no political office or authority. Remember that? Yet her compassion, her service, her authenticity. Remember how just real and engaging? You just felt like she was so approachable. Well, that gave her massive influence across the world. And then think about Mother Teresa. Here's a little woman who had no title, but her life of service moved nations and moved leaders. Remember the example when she spoke before a group of political leaders back in 1994? And from presidents of the United States and other leaders around the world. And she spoke of God and the importance of having faith and being a blessing. And then she got more pointed to say, hey, if you've got parents in nursing homes, are you taking care of them? And then she went on to talk about why she felt that there is such turmoil in the world today because there was abortion. And no one got up out in the room and left on a potentially controversial subject as such. Why? Because she had influence. Now, had another politician stood up and mentioned abortion, maybe part of the room would have got up and left. But not with Mother Teresa. Why? Influence. Martin Luther King never held an elected office. Yet, that man inspired a movement that reshaped society to this very day. So, in contrast, many world leaders who've had official titles and power have far less influence over people's hearts. Many people, if certain leaders today would walk into the room, if they had the option, they'd walk out. They would not follow. They don't appreciate their influence. So the lesson is that influence is earned through connection, credibility, and caring, not position. And when you think about your team, your organization, your family, uh, you know, maybe at your church, how is your influence? How is your connection? How is your credibility? How is your perception by others of being one who cares? So let's talk about some misconceptions about leadership. Management does not equal leadership. You know, a manager, say, who works at McDonald's, well, the employees have to do what that manager says. They're not willingly volunteering to do that. So management does not equal leadership. Management handles systems where leadership inspires people. Entrepreneurship, something I take a lot of pride in, birthing companies in the past before this one. Well, owning a business doesn't mean people will follow somebody. They'll follow them because they won't follow them. They'll do what they're told because they're on the payroll and they need that paycheck. And so entrepreneurship isn't leadership. Knowledge does not equal leadership. Education alone, degrees of any such, masters, PhDs, and such, does not equal leadership. And so, where is the influence there? And if you're a pioneer, pioneering the way, right? That doesn't make you a leader either. Being first doesn't mean necessarily that people are going to follow you. So, and lastly, position. Position does not equal leadership. Titles grant authority, not automatic leadership. And I'd say the most vulnerable area in that last one there is being a dad. Did my children when I was younger, did they obey me out of relationship, or did they obey me really in the absence of relationship because I demanded it? Did they obey me out of devotion, or did they obey me out of duty? And so that's really at the core of leadership, is people wanting to be devoted. Why? Because they feel you care. The old adage is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And if there is a foundational block that is tantamount, once again, to leadership, it is the heartbeat of love and care, and the belief that the person on the other side believes that you sincerely care about them more so than your agenda. And that's really at the heart of influence, is your heart for the person that you're influencing. And so, the question that helps you kind of clarify more of this is, do you want to be liked or do you want to be led? Excuse me, do you want to be liked or do you want to lead? Popularity draws attention, but leadership creates change. And the core difference between being popular and being a leader, well, if you're popular, you seek approval, you stay safe, try to please people, you follow trends. Think of influencers, quote unquote, online. Influencers are not leaders. If all you got to do is show people how to make a better cup of coffee or wear a tighter bikini or something, that's not influence. That's not leadership. That's just trying to be popular. That's just trying to get likes. That's trying to please people, follow trends. Influencers are not leaders. Not most of them. Not judging, but just in general, if you think about it. Leaders seek growth. They have vision. They take risk. They serve people. They set direction. People will follow somebody who knows where they're going. And a true leader who cares about who's following them is desiring to empower them to become leaders likewise. So the 7 traits of leadership influence, to lead with impact, embodies these values. I'm going to go through 7 of them. And then we're going to talk about 7 keys at the end of that. First is integrity. Do what you say what you mean. Trust is the foundation of lasting influence. In ministry, if a minister, they lose their integrity by whatever the thing they did that they shouldn't have done, there's a saying, you lose your integrity, you lose your ministry. Remember, a ministry is a group of volunteers. People voluntarily come to church. That's not a manager up on stage there paying people to show up. And so integrity is mission critical. If you can't trust the person sharing, you're not going to follow them or allow them to influence you. And then I love this one, authenticity. I said earlier that you have a thumbprint unlike anybody else on the planet. You don't have to be like any other leader. And, we have amazing leaders in LifeWave that are upcoming SPDs, elite SPDs, amazing. Some who've had just amazing, quantifiable, qualified experience, and you see it in their leadership. And the key is you don't want to compare yourself to them. You don't want to try to be like them. You want to be thankful for them. You want to absorb what you're learning from them to make you your better you so that you can be authentic because people actually do like you for you because God made the world around you to accept you for you, believe it or not. Now, not everybody may not like you, but the real genuine part of who you are is the gift that God made that He wants to live through you to others around you. So don't compare yourself to others. Celebrate your uniqueness, grow in these 21 irrefutable laws and other principles of leadership that you'll discover in time outside of this program. So you can, when communicating with people on a Zoom or on a one-on-one or in a three-way, you can be yourself, authentic, real, not perfect, be transparent. It makes people feel comfortable. It helps them get their guard down. They feel like they can trust you. Like Princess Diana, so humble, so meek, and so caring, so kind. And she was herself. So be you, be honest, and people, they'll enjoy you more. Also, clarity of vision. People will follow someone who knows where they're going. Your why, of why you do this opportunity, is what creates clarity of how and where you're going to go. And people feel that, they hear it when they know your why. When you heard Penny Carpenter talk about her loss of over almost 3 decades of developing a huge team of cattle as a cattle rancher, and it had to break her heart going through a divorce, that now she's going to have to sell these cattle, and she had a why to restore her life, and God brought her this opportunity, right? Joe Navarro wanted to take his family to Turks and Caicos, couldn't get it done, broke his children's heart. Next day, he's in LifeWave. He has a mission. He has a mission to really to financially restore himself, to get to 10,000 a month so he could pay for his 5 daughters' tuition at private school and get ready for his 6th child, which would become a son, and he would have the resources never to have to say, no, we can't go again. He had clarity. He had a heartfelt clarity that others could relate to in part. And so they believed him, they trusted him. And so that why, the why that can make you cry, if you will, created clarity and vision of where Joe was going, where Penny was going, where you may be going on your why. And so if you're clear on your why, then, and you know where you're going, people, they want to be part of that because that why typically is a mission. And a mission usually is related to making change, not just for you who has the why, but that why usually is because you want to impact others. And so people want to be part of a mission, not just a movement. And then consistency. Couldn't be more profound. It is not easy for most people to be consistent. So when they see you as a leader being consistent, it engenders trust and respect. So when they see you on the team Zooms and they see you on other calls and they see you on the trainings and they see that you're consistent and they see these weekly consistencies from you, they respect that. They can trust you. That is a ability to inspire somebody, which means that would transfer to them want to be consistent too. So your ability to be consistent sets the tone for your entire organization, for those who are going to be good soul and be consistent with you too. Servant leadership. I love this. What does a servant leader do? A servant leader thinks of others more highly than themselves. Now, I think they think well of themselves, right? But they do that with the consciousness that their heart and their skills and their talents, they want to make sure they serve others to elevate them, to make that difference in their life. And so a servant leader, they're not looking for followers and likes and whatever on Facebook and Instagram, whatever. No. Great leaders, they're looking to create more leaders. Hey, that's why we're on this team call tonight. I'm looking to create more leaders. I want to see your life evolve to be able to change other lives. And in doing so, you're going to get more filled, your cup that is open to be fulfilled by God Himself. You'll find it being more fulfilled. Courage. I love this one. Sometimes we have to just do this business scared. Seriously. I don't know if I want to talk to that person. Take the courage, open your mouth. I'm amazed how many times I almost wasn't going to talk to somebody and I felt the Lord whisper to me, like, oh, okay, I'll do it. And how it ended up being such an amazing opportunity. And I'm sure you've experienced this for yourself as well, because it takes courage to be consistent. And sometimes you just need to do it scared. Sometimes you don't want to do that meeting. You don't want to get on that Zoom. Well, that's not leadership. That's cowardice. Because if you really think about it, you getting on that Zoom, are you opening up to share? Are you picking up that phone to make a difference? Is really about changing lives. So it's not so much about you taking an action, it's the result of how someone else's life can change from the action you're going to take. And that's one of the ways that you can empower yourself with more courage, is to think about the lives you're going to change that day by taking courage to take action, to share this opportunity with them, and to be consistent and getting after it and praying, God, give me divine appointments today. Give me the courage today. I follow you. And so when it's uncomfortable, when you don't feel like it, you just stay in the game. And invariably, you'll find those are some of the best times that you get some of your greatest results. Lastly, one of the 7 traits of a leader is empowerment. Being willing to share the stage, share the strength. Influence multiplies when you invest in others. I'm excited to see multiple leadership meetings like this take place in the future that I'm not leading, that you're leading. Because the more you and I can multiply ourselves to have others leading Zooms, whether it be onboarding Zooms, team Zooms, leadership Zooms, this is really the heartbeat of, in the deepest root of the tree of leadership. See, the power of the nutrition at the root is what ends up in the fruit. Don't know if you know this, so there's a soil around a tree that bears fruit. Well, the quality of the fruit is dependent upon the richness of the soil of that root. And so the real acid test of rich leadership that others can taste and consume and become a leader too is really empowerment. Because we know, because we believe God's leading us down this path, that many of you, believe it or not, on this call are going to become amazing leaders. You already are leaders, but God's going to develop that so you begin to see more fruit in it. And that's why we're excited for you. And so think about the leaders that you have great respect for. And particularly as we go through these 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, your eyes of discernment are going to open. And you're going to be gaining more discernment when you're listening to someone on stage and be able to perceive and begin to value the power of their leadership. And choose somebody, a leader that you'd want to follow. Be that kind of leader. So let's talk about the 7 keys. We just went through 7 traits of leadership. We're going to talk about 7 keys to building influence. Right? The second law of the irrefutable laws of leadership is influence. And so we're going to talk about 7 keys here. And the first key is your character. who you are. When you walk into the room, people immediately, they know you. They know your character. Think about that next time you walk into the room. Relationships. Who do you know? And how well connected are you? If you show me the five people you hang around with, you're going to become the sixth. Show me your friends. Show me your future. I've been aware of this principle for years. I've always made attempt to try to be someone that other people would want to be also. And I have three really close friends of mine who I have great respect for. I don't even think I belong in the room with. One is our pastor. He pastors the third fastest growing church in the United States, highly respected, and just an amazing, humble man. And he and I talk a couple times a month. Known him for 20 years, and it's great to be able to have that. Another dear friend of mine is he's got 10, 11 grandkids like me. He's four wonderful children, extremely successful restaurateur, very popular restaurants in the Tampa Bay area, and is knows how to build culture. And his restaurants, 4.8 stars with 2,000 reviews. You just don't get that with a restaurant because he's building culture. And he always talks about people and leading and caring for his staff. And I love being around people who are successful and prosper and are good with their wives and their children. So who is it that you have in close proximity that are and in the palm of your hand that you're in a phone call reach to that know you? Who are those people? Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And what do you know? How well do you share it? It's been said before. I love what Danny McDaniels and Diane will say, and you'll hear Carrie say this say this too, that it's the place you go, the people you meet, and the books you read that will have the greatest impact in your life. That's where you'll get your knowledge. So you get out of yourself, of your little walls, and you begin to open up and add to your faith. You begin to get around those who are well beyond you. And you begin to maybe earn trips and go to places that you didn't even know were available to you. And that begins to pour into the very best you of who you are. So it's awesome stuff. And if you're thinking as we're talking now, we've kind of come outside the scope of our daily method of operation, our PRO, and getting passed on people and following up, all these things we do, right? But think about what we're talking right now. We're talking about the richness of who you are. And I hope you're beginning to see that what we're developing is a better you to make an influence in those around you that you're connecting with. And I'm sure you can begin to understand how that, and as you move on that journey, it is a lifelong journey, but now you're going to start stepping it up on it, is going to begin to really probably bring a little less stress because now you have more knowledge about what you're doing, why you're doing it, what you're trying to accomplish when you have the person in front of you that you're talking with because your heart is really for them. Or when you're on a Zoom, you maybe slow down because you really want to be more relational. Because in part, when that Zoom comes on, you just came in the room. And so that gives you their next step here is your intuition. Your intuition about people. I like what Mike Hernandez says at Next Level. He says, listen, I've got a PhD in people. That's giving me an MBA, a massive bank account. But intuition is that PhD. You study people, you listen, you observe how you say what you say and the impact it has on the other person. You're careful more to slow down and listen. What really is that other person saying to you? Have you even heard them? Or because maybe you're too excited and you're thinking they're going to get excited too, but you really haven't asked them questions with intuition to hear what they're thinking. Because ultimately, people are tuned into WYFM. What's in it for me? And so when you're talking to somebody, you've got to you got to dial into their station. And your questions are how you turn the dial to WYFM. What's in it for me? WIFM. And you find that out by asking. And so when you pray, God, give me wisdom. Lord, show me. Show me what they're really feeling, what they're thinking. Where is it this patch could really help them change? What questions can I ask? How could this better help them? Hey, if this patch could do anything for you, what's the first thing you wish it would do for you? Great. And why is that? What about, do you have a love in your life that you think this patch could be a resource to? So listening, asking, getting the person present in front of you, tuned into their radio station of what's in it for them, is going to give you greater influence as you're with them. And then your experience. Where have you been and what have you learned? I mean, we just came from next level. Where were you? How often did you get up? According to Mike Hernandez, he peed his pants 3 times. Oh man, because he wasn't getting up and he was riveted. Why? Because hungry, right? The more hungry you are to learn, the more you're going to learn. And what you're going to learn is going to do what? It's going to help make you better to make a bigger influence on those around you. And what is your past success? What have you accomplished that earns credibility? Don't underestimate any of your successes. Don't think, well, I'm not an SPD yet. No, 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 no. Every rung you've made is worth celebrating and has great value. If you hit manager, well, guess what? That's the key play in this whole organization. And you need to give yourself great credit for that. You've earned yourself some leadership credibility because now you can go help your first next 2 people do what? Go manager, get to director, right? And then focus on 20 left, 20 right, working your daily method of operation to get down through that, right, in your PRO. So we're talking about this culminating into ability. It's interesting on this word ability. I had a friend of mine who was very good at hiring executives years ago into corporate America. And he said, Ken, we look at 3 things when we interview somebody. Are you knowledgeable? Are you willing? And do you have the ability to get it done? And invariably, people would come and they'd have a lot of knowledge. They looked like, yes, I really want this, very willing, but when it came down to it, it was their ability that they really needed to know. Did they have a prior experience of proving they've done this before and been successful at it, or have the traits inside of them to prove that they had done it before and could be more successful with it? And so what they knew really didn't matter. How willing and excited they were really didn't matter. But the ability to be that person when you walk in the room that others respect, that's huge. So in reflection, think of someone who's influenced you positively, but didn't need an official title to do so. Who was that person? Who was the number one influential person in your life? Was it a grandparent? Was it a boss? Was it a leader in this organization? Who was that? Think about that person for a moment. And then think what it was about them that gave them permission in your soul to want to follow them, to want to believe them. That's where you want to be. So, where do you currently see yourself influencing? And we look at these 7 keys, which ones do you need to strengthen? And who do you know with a high level of influence, and what sets them apart? So, what you want to do this coming week, and then we're going to open this up here in a second, is that you want to pick one person you want to positively influence this week. And I have a few that I want to influence this week. I have people that I know that because this course has already been challenging me to make changes. For me, it's to be more direct with people. Sometimes I don't like rejection, but I want to be direct, believe it or not. And bring the conversation to a head because I care about the person so we can get clarity of a situation. But I have to have credibility in their mind, and in their mind, there's got to be permission where they'd want to hear from me. So I'm just not going to freely spout what I think they need to change. I'm going to make sure I've got the relationship in place, that they know I care, and the approach I take is one that's going to help them win. Who is that for you? And use the 7 keys framework to commit to one act of character, connection, competence. These are all important, right? And look at this next week. Next week, we will open up next week. We're going to open up to, hey, who is it that you influence? From what you learned from one of the 7, and I'm going to back up and look at these 7 again with us. So you can share your experience. So we have a practical application. Now you've got the book, so it's in the book. The 7 keys are in the end of chapter 2, so you can look at those. And they're right here: the character, relationship, knowledge, intuition, experience, past success. What are these keys that you could use, to help make a positive influence in somebody's life this week? So what I want to do now, it's 7:46. I want to open up this time together with you and hear, your thoughts, have you contribute, and share, what have you gotten so far out of this second law, and where do you see yourself growing in relation to be someone who's going to be one of more influence? Just got to make sure you unmute yourself.
Hey, Ken.
Hey, Ricardo, how you doing, my friend?
Good, good. Guess where I'm at?
Where are you at, man?
Starbucks.
Hey.
Yeah, man, so many nuggets, so much good stuff. Um, One of the ones I know I need improvement with is developing relationships. I've been much of an introvert most of my life. I'm not gonna say I didn't like people, but I'm not one for big crowds of friends and groups. And so I really like that trait, just building good relationships with people. And so just listening to all this, I know exactly what I need to do. Um, and another one is being more direct with people, but not being rude about it. It's kind of like that fine line with being direct, but using tact with it without being confrontational. Um, those 2 areas that I know I need to work on, and not just need, but I am working on it. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, and if you would be so kind as during this week when you have them write one down or a couple down times where you saw a change where you did and the impact it made on that person, and share that with us next week if you'd be open to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate you and Heather. You guys are great. All righty. Who else has a revelation from this chapter that you'd like to share with us?
Hello.
Rose,
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Okay. Tony and I are with friends out. Um, what I wanted to say is Tony and I are trying so hard. I'm gonna get emotional again. I guess it's my age to try to help everyone go manager.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's like we're trying to do it all at the same time, and I know that there's a process, and thank God for Rob and Lisa. I don't know what I would do if they weren't always on, right there for us. They've got our back all the time. But we try to move with those that are moving and building, work with them more than the ones that aren't. But we just want so much to help all of them at the same time. Do you have any words of advice on how we can move with this without feeling so overwhelmed?
Sure. You just take one day at a time, Rose. God owns tomorrow, and remember, you got to understand that it's the unless the Lord builds the house, so the weight of this isn't all on your shoulders. Um, and just the revelation to know that God hasn't called you to fix all of this. We're nowhere in the scripture does God call us to fix. He calls us to follow. So when you wake up in the morning and you pray and say, Lord, I give you the team, and burden my heart for who we should work with first, right? And just slow down. Jesus never ran across the water. He walked. And so you take a list of everybody that you want to work with, slow down, write their names down, and then pray and say, okay, Lord, who today? Who do I work with today? All right. And then do the same thing the next day. And just keep it simple as part of your daily method of operation. And
Okay.
so, is there anything specifically that is pressing on you beyond just feeling like it's too much?
Um, it's the follow-ups. I mean, I don't know what I would do without Rob. I mean, it's like, can my follow-up stink? I I do so well helping everybody and leading, but to follow up and know what to do next, how to move them to the next level, like the closing. And this week we had someone call us that we haven't seen in a long time. And my friend's son, he called us at 8 o'clock in the morning and said, how do I sign up?
Mhm.
And what I did is I took a form and filled it out over the phone because I'm legally blind and Rob is kind of my eyes.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
filled it out and then went back to Rob
yeah.
and he helped me put it
You fill it out.
online.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I don't know, maybe I've got more going for me than I think I do. I don't know.
Start the day with gratitude.
Okay.
It will open your eyes to see it, because gratitude creates brightness and gives the positivity of the great things God's doing, you know, and um,
Okay.
and be patient, and you've got Rob, you've Greg, you have me right there as upline. So we can assist if someone's ready, and you can just get us on the line. We'll sign them up.
Okay. Three-way calls. Okay.
Yeah,
What
that
if what if like, okay, yesterday I was supposed to call this lady and I don't know, I just slipped. I like dropped the ball. So I
Yeah.
want to call her tonight, but I'm embarrassed. But she's a family friend
Mhm.
and she was interested and she was going to This Is It info.
Yeah.
And she owns a business in karaoke with, weddings and stuff.
Yeah.
And yesterday she was available and can I friggin' drop the ball?
Okay, so what? Pray, ask Lord for free. Hey, Lord, I dropped the ball on this one. Give me a favor and talk with her and say, listen, I'm so sorry I missed you yesterday. I'm calling you today because I don't want to get too far out, you know?
That's good.
And
Okay.
what'd you like what you see? And if she starts asking questions, say, listen, those are great questions. Let me get my friend Rob, or let me get my friend Greg, let me get my friend Ken on the phone, and because he knows more about this than I do, and he can help answer these for you. And then you just put us on the call.
Okay. I saw that with Penny.
Yeah. And
Penny.
that is
Okay.
an amazing way that you can bring horsepower to those who have interests.
Okay.
And then we'll sign them up then on the phone.
Okay. Because she has a lot of influences, I know for
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah. And remember, you're thinking about 20 left, 20 right, right? So don't put too much weight into one person. Keep working down through, you know, contacting new people daily on the PRO system. Look
Okay.
beyond, look beyond the 20 left, 20 right. Keep thinking that way. Don't get too camping on one person. Well, this one person's really going to make it. You don't know who is and who won't. You can perceive they would, but you don't know if they will. All I can do is just get them in front of us, get them on the phone. If it's meant to be, we're going to get it signed up and get on to the next person.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you,
That's
Ken.
leadership. We're talking about leadership, consistency. If you make mistakes, other people do too. A good leader gets up, brushes himself off, and goes on because other people are going to stumble and do the same thing too. But you're showing leadership by getting back up to be consistent and being hopeful and getting after it.
Okay. I mean, my upline's right there. Greg is on the phone before I even open my eyes,
Yep.
and
So you've
Rob
got
is there.
it.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah.
And so is Lisa and so is Rob. So I mean, everyone that I have is available to me. I just have to do the work and I think I have to have more self-confidence.
You need to
Probably.
be a leader. You are a leader. You need to, when you're morning, when you wake up with gratitude, you need to use affirmations that I am a leader. I am great at follow up. I care about who I'm calling. And you begin to make these I am statements in order to, and they'll bring about, you cannot perform in a manner that's inconsistent with the way you see yourself. If you see yourself not good at follow up, then you're not going to be good at follow up. You got to begin to see yourself before you are that. And as you see it and confess it and thank God for it, you'll gravitate to it and you'll become it because you can't be something that you don't see yourself like.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's leadership. All
Thank
righty.
you.
Thanks, Rose. Who else? One more question here is before we wrap this up. And law of influence. Who's got a nugget?
And hey, Cam, me again. Yeah. So
Hey,
one more thing that actually stuck out to me,
yeah,
when it talked about caring more about the person and helping them as kind of like a mission, because sometimes you might not do things for yourself or put things on for yourself, but it's like take the attention off of you and look at helping them, which will help us to be more impactful in people's lives. Because a
absolutely.
lot of times when we get stuck in our head, but it's like, no, take it off you, be about helping them. This patch can help their health and their wealth. So that's
That's
just
it.
also.
Yeah, that's love, and love conquers all. So that's great. All righty. Anybody else? Thanks, Ricardo.
Hey Ken, I got something.
Go ahead, Rob.
Right. I think what I'm going to be working on this week is um, the past successes. because of the experience that we've had building business before. We don't have the massive success, although we've reached a little bit of success in this. I think I focus more on that than anybody I'm talking to. So that's what I'm.
What does that look like? What does that look like for you? What do you mean?
Praying more, and like you just said with Rose, waking up with it and focusing on gratitude first, being grateful for what God has allowed us to do in the lives He's allowed us to touch thus far, and looking for the next lives we'll be touching.
Amen. God's on a mission to live through you. And that revelation is an added value to be grateful for. We wake up with gratitude. Lord, I'm so grateful that you're on a mission to live through me today. Just like you're on a mission to create David Schmidt today. You gave him the wisdom to create this patch, and you've given us an amazing team to be part of to get this patch on people's lives, because you're looking to change more lives, and I want to be part of that too. And I'm grateful that you included me in it. Now give me divine appointments to go get after it in Jesus' name. And I'm going to scatter bountifully, and I'll look for all the no's, because I know eventually you're going to help me find those yeses.
Amen. Amen.
All righty. Well, hey, guys, let me open this back up real quick here, and then we'll close it out. So pick that one person you want to positively influence this week. Think about these 7 key framework. It's in the back of the chapter. Think of the response and impact you made on them. And, once again, what's the takeaway, right? Leadership is not position, people. It is, and hold on one second. Let me share my screen. Leadership is not perfect also. Okay, great. Here we go. So leadership is influence. It's not position. Titles don't make leaders. Me being an SPD doesn't make me a leader, right? It's my influence, your influence. The fact that you love people and you ask God to bless that, it's going to give you amazement. So next week's preview is law number 3, the law of process. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. So, hey, everybody, it's been a blessing to be with you. It's been my honor, and I love all y'all, and I'm excited for each of you. God is, remember, love hopes all, it believes all. And that's how God feels about you. He loves you, and He believes in you because He made you. He doesn't make junk. We're fallen creatures, so our brain, it doesn't want to comprehend the true you of who you really are when you came to know Christ. That all things became new. And so we war against this fallen state. But we have the power because God is in us. Ephesians 3:20. Now to Him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we think or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. So you have the power to become an amazing leader that He's designed you to be, with your thumbprint, with authenticity, gratitude, and impact. So pick that one person this week. Do share when we open up next week, next Wednesday. Who was that? You don't have to share who it was, but what was the impact? How did you see a change from your incremental change? A tree doesn't grow overnight, but now you're going to start growing. And we can celebrate fruitfulness from this meeting. And so, hey guys, blessings. And right now I got Stephen Gina Merritt on to tonight was Wednesday call. It's going to be a game changer. So if you got people to invite, get them on. Let's get them signed up, get them plugged in, get changing lives. All right. Appreciate you guys. Love you. Have a great evening. We'll see you. Good night.